Hi, my name is Adrian Chmielarz and I am a game designer at The Astronauts. I want to show you a bit of the gameplay from The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and give you some insight into the design philosophy behind the game. I am a couple of minutes into the game now, past the intro, so let me quickly introduce our hero. You play the game as Paul Prospero, an occult-minded private detective who's received a disturbing letter from a boy named Ethan Carter, and realizing that the boy is in danger, arrives at Ethan's home of Red Creek Valley.
Red Creek Valley seemed like a quiet, ordinary place. I've learned two things in my life. No place is truly quiet, and nowhere is really ordinary. Ethan warned me about that. Warned me not to be fooled by what I saw here. He didn't need to worry. I'd worked dozens of cases, hundreds. This would be my last one.
So that's our entrance into the valley. It's a pretty large place to explore. Later in the game, for example, you can also explore everything we see here, that other side of the lake. Actually, if you wanted to, you could go there right now, because we're not putting any artificial blockers in your way. It's totally up to you as to how you go about on your quest of helping Ethan. When it comes to the interesting stuff you find in our game, there are two basic layers of examination. The first layer is you. We're happy to let you look around and think and speculate and draw your own conclusions about what you see. For example, you may notice that there is some blood on the rail car, but there is none on the bridge. So whatever bad happened, it didn't happen here. The second layer is this. As you can see, examination actually does not give you answers. On the contrary, you probably have more questions now than before the object was examined. But what is happening with that crank word? Well, this is where we begin to scratch the surface of a certain special ability of our detective. First, let's zero in on the direction of the item. And now let's see the item's surroundings. Let's see, the crank is near some rocks by the water. That's our main clue to go on. But if you look a little longer, you can find additional clues as for the item's location, like the relation of this place to the dam we saw in the distance. Okay, so we know that the crank can be found on the lake's rocky shore. Let's go and see if we can find the item. This is a different type of approach to the problem of finding important items in the average adventure game. In Ethan Carter, you don't have to randomly comb the environment. All you need is to be aware of the environment and try to compare the vision you just had with what you see around you. Whenever you discover an important clue, you tag the area with a short description of it. This helps to build a mental 3D image of the scene and is another step to understanding what exactly happened here. But for now, let's just follow the blood trail. Alright, it seems I cannot connect with the deceased yet, as the death scene has been altered in some way. In short, the concept here is that the dead would happily talk to you, metaphorically speaking, but the world around them needs to be as they remember it right before their death. I want to leave the details of this concept for you to discover in the game, so for now let's just search the area for more clues. By the way, it's your choice whether you want to investigate this death further or if you want to leave it for now and maybe return to it later. A body of water, rocks, the dam in the distance. This must be the place where we can find the crank, so let's look for it. Before I return to the railcar and use the crank, let's see if there are any other clues in the area. I know it's obvious to everybody that this is where the railcar stood originally for months or years, but we keep the game systems consistent, so if there is a place from which an object is missing, you can always locate such object through your vision, even if you already know the location of it perfectly well. Let's use the crank and get the railcar back to its original location. There is a couple more things to do in the area before it's restored to how it was right before the deceased's death, but I want to avoid spoiling this fragment of the game to death, so let's just travel in space and time to what can happen a bit later. I've restored the death scene, so let's go and talk to our corpse. Physically, I am still in the same world as I was seconds ago, but mentally I am in a different place, surrounded by the strongest memories of the deceased's final moments. My first job is to locate all the memories, and that's exactly what I am doing right now. When you find all the memories, the next phase begins. In order to sink deeper with this death imprint, you need to build a mental image of the chronology of the entire murder. This is when your own detective skills come in order. Here is a simple example. As you can see, the victim here already has both legs severed. And this is where we found the legs earlier, and well, the guy still has them both attached. So this memory here must be from an earlier time than the memory over there. Sticking to our no spoilers policy, let's jump in time again. After you propose the chronology, it's time to focus and visualize the crime.
Travis! Listen to me! We can destroy it! I know how!
You can't destroy it, Ethan. You can't destroy time. And that's what he is. he is forever?
Okay, so something went wrong. It's not how it all happened. I got the first memory right, but not the second one. But I'll leave it for you to figure out the right order, so let's jump in time again. After you solve the chronology and thus sink deeper with the death imprint and understand it better what happened here and how it can help you find Ethan, you can see one more thing. Everything we dealt with previously happened before the deceased's death, but when we are in full sync, we can actually witness the dead man's first memory after his death. But that is another thing I do not want to spoil, so let me show you something else instead. Finding corpses and looking for Ethan is not the only thing you do in the game. There are places in the valley that are, let's say, different. Call them playgrounds or mini-worlds. They're places where our game's vision and imagination opens up the most, and it's up to you to discover their secrets. Let's take a quick look at one of such places. And here is another weird place. Okay, so I hope this video gave you a good idea of what kind of game The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is. Thank you for watching.